Kevin Durant, I mean, yeah, he looked like the best player on the planet. He was definitely the best player in Tokyo, and he's been the best at these Olympic Games over his career. There have been 5 29-point games all time in gold medal games, and Kevin Durant now has 3 of them. Speaking of golden, look who's here. Jorge Sedano. George, I got a little tight at the end. And you're a hoops junkie. I got to feel like you might have been uncomfortable. Why was the United States unable to put France away?
All right, so I was standing up in the green room, and I started to pace, okay? All of a sudden, Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot of the Brooklyn Nets is hitting shots. All of a sudden, Frank Ntilikina hit a 3. I'm like, he's not even a three-point shooter. Scared me a little bit, but thank you, Kevin Durant, as you mentioned, because when Damian Lillard missed those free throws, again, the heart started to race a little bit, but Durant was able to ice the game. Great job by Jayson Tatum earlier in the game as well, giving him support. And they really needed that second guy, and Tatum really later in this tournament was able to kind of become that second guy to support Durant.
The second guy figured to be Booker or Lillard. Lillard especially.
Right.
Why wasn't? What happened to Lillard?
Well, it looked like Dame was heating up in that third quarter, and we were getting ready for Dame time. You know, I love me some Dame time, Neil.
Yeah.
But then those free throws, it was strange. It was like an out-of-body experience for him. But give them credit on the defensive end, Neil. Everybody talks offense. Nobody talks defense. Defensively, whether it was Bam Adebayo, whether it was Kevin Durant with a block, whether it was Draymond Green, they were able to lock down on that end.
Set the defensive presence right off the bat. The first possession for France, shot clock violation.
Right.
All right. What did you really learn from these Olympics? So, I mean, it's just a one-off. It's for the gold. Is there a bigger picture here that we need to talk about?
Okay, clearly the world is catching up, right? So because of that, we need to treat this with a little more respect as far as the process is concerned.
The process? It's always about the process.
Not that Philly process. Not that process. Different kind of process. Now, if you remember back in 2008 in Beijing, after the previous embarrassment in 2004 when they won the bronze medal, that team committed for 2 years to compete in those 2008 Olympics. That was Kobe Bryant, Jason Kidd, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think that we've kind of gotten away from that. I understand these guys have a lot of stuff going on outside of basketball. Sometimes injuries play a factor. But I do think we need to throw these teams together with a little time to create some cohesiveness.
And how do you go about doing that?
I just think that the commitment needs to be longer than just several weeks or several months.
All right. Speaking of a commitment, Kevin Durant getting ready to sign a $198 million extension with the Brooklyn Nets. That'll be sometime after Saturday, but in the near future. I don't know how many days it is until the tip-off. You probably do. Is it too early to talk about the Nets being the prohibitive favorite to win it all next year?
Well, it's approximately 10 weeks, not that I'm counting. But listen, $198 million, man. You know, that's a nice chunk of change to go to. But they are the prohibitive favorite. It's basically them and the Lakers right now. And depending on which sports book you go to, you know, if you're into that kind of stuff, my guess is that Brooklyn will be the favorite at least going into this thing, barring health. And we saw last season was catastrophic from a health perspective. As far as all-star caliber players, those guys missed almost 20% of their games, the most that we've seen in NBA history. So I think that we're going to get back on a more regular schedule. I think those guys from Brooklyn will get their rest. Clearly, the Lakers will get their rest. And in theory, we'll get that collision course. But, yeah, I'm thinking Brooklyn at least the early favorite at the moment.
I think Patty Mills, huge pickup for Brooklyn as well.
No doubt. I mean, you're talking about a champion in Patty Mills and a guy with tons of experience, for sure.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.